a clear example of constructive engagement, cooperation and collaboration between the federal and Ogun state governments in the execution of critical transformation projects, some of which he inaugurated include the 14-kilometer Ijebu-Ode Mojoda-Epe Expressway to link Lagos to Ogun states through the Lekki Industrial Corridor and complement the Shagamu-Benin Expressway, as well as the 42-kilometer Muhammadu Buhari-Shagamu Interchange Abekuta Dual Carriageway, reconstructed by the state government to link the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The president also inaugurated the iconic Gateway City Gate project, a park beautification monument depicting the joining of hands for building the future of Ogun State in togetherness. Also inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari are 2 housing estates for low, medium and high-income earners at Kobape and Okemosang. They include the 527 units Prince Court and the first phase of the 85 units King's Court estates, some of which costing as low as 6 million naira per unit.
We'd like to inform you that all these projects are interrelated. They're not just projects. They're also part of our agenda for development and have been deliberately conceived and implemented to also achieve employment generation.
Your Excellency, well done. I am proud of what you have done for your state and your people. You have made our great party, the APC, proud of too. You are a worthy example of promises made, promises kept. These lofty projects could not have materialized without your huge investment and commitment to security of lives and property. This has made Ogun State one of the safest and most peaceful states in the country, and investors' destination of choice. You have justified the mandate of the people of Ogun State. You have represented our party very well.
Meanwhile, 3 critical roads in Ogun State are to be reconstructed by the federal tax credit scheme. The president made a promise while addressing the people of Ogun State during his visit.
Buhari, who was bestowed with an honorary indigenship as symbolized by the presentation of the key to the gateway state of possibilities to him, appreciated the silent but effective achievements of Governor Abiodun, describing him as deliverer of good governance.
I congratulate the people of Ogun State for having such a focused, deliberate and inclusive administration under the watch of His Excellency Prince Dabo Abiodun. I enjoin you to continue to support him for the successful implementation of the Building Our Future Together agenda of his administration.
Beyond these critical projects, we have also embarked on several fiscal and policy reforms to enable effectiveness and efficiency of government. All these have led to an increased IGR.
And by coming here today, you've shown so much respect for our son and shown so much respect for Ogun State. We will not forget you. And as you prepare to exit, you will not have cause to regret. This country will remain grateful. And to our son, this is the man that is just, it is the man that is fair, it is the man that is equitable. I am going to say that development in Ogun State is unprecedented.
During the visit, the government and people of Ogun State once again thanked President Buhari for the honor done to the late MKO Abiola, an indigene of the state. The Buhari presidency not only posthumously conferred on Chief Abiola the highest national honor of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, but also named the Abuja National Stadium after him for his ultimate sacrifice in enthroning democracy.
Moving on now, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says highly capable and professional bureaucracy is crucial in the development of a nation. Professor Osinbajo was speaking during a lecture on strategic leadership.
Is the key. If it works, everything works. If it fails, plans and policies are hardly worth the paper that they are written on. The bureaucracy literally holds the future of the nation in its hands.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo speaking on the importance of effective civil service and the essential skills those in position of leadership must have in carrying out their roles as leaders. And in the case of government economic policies and programs, strategic leader, he says, must understand the objectives, such as creating an enabling environment for others to thrive.
So the strategic leader must acknowledge the stark reality that without the private sector, we do not have an economic plan. This must then inform the way the strategic leader thinks, plans, and acts. The leader must recognize that the whole point of the civil service and government agencies must therefore be to facilitate and enable individuals, corporations, and other commercial entities.
The Vice President moving from his normal position as Vice President to being his professorial podium there. Now, moving on, the year 2022 is the last full year of the current administration, and the three arms of government are literally in a race against time to deliver on all their mandates before the expiration of their tenures. In the legislature, the acts of parliament that give impetus to any plan needs to be debated and passed. So we have Honorable Abubakar Hassan Lanaraba, representing our Doma and Kena Federal Constituency of Nasarawa State, joining us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Fisaya.
All right, now 2022 is here. What are your ambitions in terms of legislative realities? Just in another week now, we'll start again. What are you thinking of? Perhaps you and your colleagues trying to achieve as we move into the new year, knowing fully well in that background that we have quite a short time, and by the time you get towards the latter part of the year, you and your colleagues will be thinking of going back to the polls and, of course, all the paraphernalia of that would follow.
Thank you, Mr. Fisayo. I think basically what we should be concentrating on when we get back to the Assembly by next week, you will remember that Mr. President have sent back the Electoral Act. So the National Assembly is ready to work on it, to work on those clauses that, those areas that Mr. President pointed out. And then also we have a constitutional amendment, which Mr. Speaker, in his wisdom, decided that when we resume 2022, we are going to work on some critical areas where the Constitution needed to be amended. I think basically these are the two areas that the legislature for now will concentrate on delivering to the dividends of...
You are legislators, but primarily first you are politicians. This is the business end of your cycle. This year you will go back and, at least from the party level, you begin to test your popularity, and the constituents, of course, will say, come back home or continue. While that is going on, the business of state must also go on in terms of lawmaking. I hope you are bringing all that on board, thinking about that as well, because one must not stop for the other.
Yes, like you rightly said and you rightly pointed out, first, we must have to concentrate on delivering our core mandate, lawmaking, to Nigerians. And secondly, we are going into politics and politicking, like you said. And most members of the National Assembly are quite aware that 2022 is a political year, that so much that the primaries, elections of various political parties is coming up this year. And also, my party, we still have our convention that's still hanging on the corner that it need to be decided. So these are most of the things that will consume the attention of lawmakers and legislators in 2022. But like I earlier on said, we have a principal mandate. That is the constitutional amendment that you may recall that most of the public hearings have been carried on in various zones, various parts of the country, and Nigerians and civil societies all made contributions and submissions on which section of the Constitution that needed to be amended. These are the things that will be critically and carefully looking at when we resume, and then the deliberations and considerations shall be made, inshallah, when we resume.
All right, now let's, look at, you said hanging in a corner. I don't think that is hanging in a corner. It's right in front of Nigerians. We just want to know exactly what the party is saying. Now, you are a member of the party. What are the consultations like? You told us, the rest of the nation, to expect this to happen within the next 1 month and a half, because we're already in the first half. I mean, we've almost gone through the first part of January. Is February feasible? We are seeing the masquerades coming out of the woodwork. Different people vying for positions in the National Executive Committee, especially the chairmanship aspirants. We are seeing posters across town and in different parts of the country. It's only the date to be ticked in the calendar we don't have.
Okay, let me go. Let me answer your question. Is February feasible? February is practically impossible to conduct the National Convention, going by the activities that should be put in place before the convention. We expect the Caretaker Extraordinary Committee to bring out procedures and activities that will lead to the convention, like setting up committees that will zone the various positions, the various executive positions to various zones, and committees that will organize the convention, committees that will decide on the activities to be carried out during the convention. Those committees are yet to be constituted. So that is why, in my view and my opinion, I felt it's practically impossible to conduct the convention in February. However, we are still hoping that whatever decision the CECC are going to come up with is going to be in the best interest of the party, and as loyal members of the party, we shall abide by it and dance with the gallery, inshallah.
All right, but we are already seeing movements and repositioning and, meetings of different shades and colorations in the party in terms of where you want perhaps the leadership to go. Maybe towards the end of the program we'll begin to talk about that, because there are two aspects. We have talked about national executive positions of the party. There's also this other one. Big masquerades are coming out this week. Let's first take some of them before we go on. Governor David Umahi of Ebonyi State this week indicated interest to contest in the 2023 presidential election on the platform of the APC. The Ebonyi helmsman was in Abuja to notify the president of his ambition.
Governor Dave Umahi is making known his presidential ambition to President Muhammadu Buhari barely 24 hours after the former Lagos State Governor, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had done so. The Ebonyi governor, who defected to the governing party in November 2020, had told the president of his desire to carry on with his legacies.
Without prejudice to whatever will be the decision of the party, which we shall all abide by, I believe that with what I put in place in the past 6 years plus, that I will be running for presidency on the platform of APC. So I told him, and of course, he believes that whoever that wants to run for president of this country must have to consult widely, and we must do everything to remove ethnicity and our religion in our polity so that this country can grow. God willing, if it's God's will and the wish of the people of this country, Umahi's presidency will be looking at, the same thing we did in Ebonyi State. And it's all about patriotism. It's all about fear of God. It's all about bringing, experience to bear. I have a lot to give in terms of how to run governance as business. We also believe strongly that we will be able to, continue with what Mr. President has done.
All right, different people throwing their hats in the ring, consulting widely, while some are also wide awake, monitoring what is happening. In the same vein, former governor of Abia State, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, has also indicated interest in the political journey to the presidential villa. OUK, as it's popularly called, says it will vie for the nation's highest position if it is zoned to the south.
I'm very capable. I'm a member of House of Representatives, a very successful businessman, two-term governor, currently in the Senate. I don't think there are few people who have the experience I have. I've managed men and material. I'm still managing with over 13,000 workers in my group. So I don't know who is better than me. I believe that I have the experience. I know the country very well. I know the feelings of a northerner, the feelings of a southwesterner. I know the feelings of Ijo man and the Soko man and the rest of them. I know the feelings of Ibibio man and Urobo man. I know the feelings of almost all parts of Nigeria. So that feeling is what we need in leadership. And I can be decisive. And mind you, I have been close to so many presidents of Nigeria. So I understand the power. I know Nigeria better than most of our leaders think. I'm not a very tribal person. I'm very detribalized. If the party chooses to go to another zone, I'll support the party. The answer is support is the answer. I cannot, because I'm an Igbo man and I will say, no, I won't support a South person. I will support them immediately because we're all Nigerians. We're all taken about it. The party I belong to should consider us also. So because that is very, very important to my man. I will always support whatever the party supports.
Right, chair stopping already, and people are beginning to reel out the CVs and all that. Call it the Game of Thrones. If this is season 1, of course, it's not going to end anytime soon. Honorable Naraba, you are here. Chairmanship candidates, we fielded some in the past weeks. Presidential candidates are still here. No date in sight yet, but what is the party thinking, like you, on the floor in terms of, you and your colleagues as well as other politicians? What are we expecting, especially from your party in the next few weeks? It seems already you are entertaining us.
Mr. Pisa, like I said, 2022 is a year of politics and politicking. Like you rightly said, the big masquerades are out. There are bigger masquerades and there are oracles. I think the oracle have spoken, the masquerades are out, so let's see what the deciders have for us, that is those holding the party, the CECC, because whatever anyone will say now, it's just exercise in futility, because they need to roll out the activities of the party when the convention will take place or when the primaries will take place, and then when the convention will take place. That is when...
Some are even saying that the longer you delay, the more difficult it will be to even fix dates because of different vested interests.
Yes, I believe, in my own opinion, there are issues that needed to be sorted out. There are some reconciliatory moves that are being exercise that is currently taking place across the APC states, where there are issues arising from the various congresses, state congresses, and then there is also the issue of state congress in Zamfara and Anambra. I think that is what the party is trying to put in place before they could announce the date of convention and then maybe possibly primary elections. If those issues are not well taken care of, I think it's going to spell doom for the party. So in my view and opinion, I think the party is trying to set his house in order, like what the president says during his presidential chat. The president, if you remember, says the APC needs to organize his house. If not, the opposition might take over. So that is what they are doing, I believe, and I think I so much believe it's for good. When we set our house in order, they roll out the activities, and APC, inshallah, is a party to beat.
All right, before we come for the closing remarks, you just mentioned the opposition there, and let's look at what they are doing. The People's Democratic Party says there will be a level playing field for all aspirants vying for the party's presidential ticket. This was when journalist and publisher Dele Momodu and businessman Mazi Sam Onwabua visited the party's national secretariat this week to declare their intentions to run for the nation's top job.
Thanks. All right.
Journalist and publisher Dele Momodu was at the PDP National Secretariat to submit his letter of intent to vie for the nation's presidency on the platform of the party come 2023. The political party platform, he explains, is the only channel to achieving his aspiration.
If selected as the party's candidate, I hasten to add that this is my personal decision I was not forced by anyone to do it, although I have received advice, encouragement, and support from diverse quarters since I started my consultations.
PDP National Chairman Senator Yocha Ayu assured Dele Momodu of the party's stance towards fairness, stating that it has no favored aspirant.
You have to go out and work out there among the party members across the country, because the party leadership will not do it for you.
Businessman Mazi Samu Habunwa was also at PDP headquarters to declare a similar aspiration.
My desire to offer myself to be used by the party and of God and change the story of Nigeria for good.
In another development, the National Secretary of the PDP, Senator Sam Anyanwu, inaugurated 3 special committees towards repositioning the party that include review of the party's establishment manual, tenders, and staff audit.
Okay, we expect other political parties to do same as the presidential, aspirants continue to tell Nigerians exactly what they have to offer. But of course, it's likely to be quite a year, because we're just in the 2nd week of the year, and already we're having a number of candidates coming out. Some are still consulting widely all across the country. So what are we going to see? You on one part at the national level trying to make sure that the ship of state is steered in the right direction, especially supporting it with acts of parliament. At the same time, there's the second aspect of all this. Am I going back home, or am I to be told to continue? That is also hanging at the other side. So what's your word to Nigerians, both to your colleagues and Nigerians, before we close?
To my colleagues, everybody at the end of the day needs to go back to his various constituency. Your performance, your contributions and participations in development of your constituency and your participation in the National Assembly will determine whether your constituents will return you back to the National Assembly, or they will send someone else to represent them. I think that is what all of us at the National Assembly put at the back of our mind. And then to Nigerians, we expect 2022 to be a very smooth year for all politicians, because all the political parties are preparing for their primaries. And I would like to use this opportunity to call on our supporters. Let's play the game without bitterness. Let's play it with decorum. At least we need peace in Nigeria, and we need to survive for us to enjoy the lasting peace that we enjoy.
Honorable Narabas wise words concludes political updates on the NTA, where we give you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. We'll be back again on Tuesday for a brighter package. Don't forget to play your politics for the greater good. And for those who are giving thanks for coming, when you go to political rallies, there will be many this year. Quickly take it and pocket it and vote your conscience. That is the program. We'll see you again next week. Bye.